Hello, my fellow Gore Horror besties. Welcome to another episode of Gore Horror. Today we're going to be talking about a cold case that was solved this week about a Phoenix mother who was cruelly murdered 26 years ago. So on a few weeks ago, the Phoenix Police Department announced that 58-year-old Javier Lorenzano Nunez was found in Mexico and taken into custody for the 1998 death of Sarah Carr. So that's really good news. That family deserves justice. I hope that they get the closure that they need from this. I know that we will not get this beautiful woman back, but they still deserve the justice for her. So I'm going to play this quick video about the case, about it being solved, like that kind of thing. So we'll be right back.
First on Fox tonight, the family of a Phoenix woman killed 26 years ago now takes a first step in a path toward justice. Sarah Jane Carr was killed in July of 1998, and her killer was known only by a nickname until 2016.
Officials then began the search for him across the border in Mexico and were finally able to arrest him this week. Fox 10's Nicole Christine spoke to Sarah's loved ones about breaking this cold case after all this time.
Oh, and this is a very special family. You can just feel Sarah's light when hearing from her family members how they praise her free spirit and remember her dedication to those around her. And that light kept them going over these many years that they've been waiting for this news.
This is a prayer that, I've prayed every night, for justice.
A family's prayer sent up 26 years ago when 28-year-old Sarah Jane Carr was murdered.
Sarah was beautiful. She was very smart. And when I was younger, I wanted to be just like her.
A loving mother of 6, her oldest child, Gregory, was only 11 when she was killed.
I remember her always being there, doing right by her kids. She was a great mom. She was really tough.
Some of Sarah's younger kids know of her mostly through the cherished memories of others.
She had a very kind heart, and she loved the band Journey. So anytime Journey comes on, it's very hard to listen to, but I always think of her.
The pictures I see show just how beautiful she was and how full of life she was. And she was kind of the life of the party, it sounds like.
Sarah's son, Garrett, took his grief and turned it into a mission to serve others as a police officer in Austin, Texas.
Growing up, the way I felt of, will I ever get justice? Will I ever find closure? I didn't like that feeling, and I didn't want other people to feel that.
Then, just this week, Sarah's family learned Phoenix police, along with the Justice Department and U.S. Marshals, successfully extradited Javier Lorenzano Nunez from Mexico and charged him with homicide for the 1998 crime. The arrest was a special moment for Garrett. At his graduation from Academy, a former coach and father figure gifted him a pair of handcuffs.
He said, "Hey, I want to see you put these on a bad guy." And I knew as soon as I got those handcuffs what I wanted to do with them. I didn't want to put them on any everyday bad guy. I didn't want to use them for my first arrest. I said, I'll do you one better, and I want to use them when this guy is caught. When I was able to finally hand them over to the detective and see the detective trade out the marshal's cuffs for my handcuffs, it's just a pinnacle point for me.
Yeah, a pinnacle point, and it just gives you chills just seeing those images. Well, the family's message to others searching for justice in cold cases is to never lose hope and to stay in contact with the detectives investigating these cases, but try to be patient, as sometimes, as we learned with this case, justice takes time.
It is definitely so sad, but they got the answers that they were looking for, and they will continue to fight for justice. Like they said, just because you have a cold case, do not ever give up. Like, keep going, and you can find justice. So it did take a long time for them to extradite him, but he's here, and he's going to be charged for her murder. So how it started with the reason that initially they didn't know who he was the authorities say that the original detectives on the case only had a nickname for the suspect, but his identity was unknown. They said I quote, "We know who did it, but we just didn't have a name of the person," is what a detective from Phoenix Police Cold Case Homicide Unit said. And he said you could tell it had happened just then, potentially. You could tell it had happened just then, potentially witness to it, is what a police sergeant said. They had a witness who saw the man running from the scene, but that was the last time that he was ever seen for decades. So they're assuming that he immediately fled to Mexico, where he spent a long time. So the investigation went cold until 2016. That's when detectives identified him as Javier, and he allegedly went by the nickname of G. I don't know why, but that was the nickname he went by, and they found him with the use of technology that was starting to be available in 2016. So Javier repeatedly spent years in California after the murder, and then he was living in Mexico for the past decade. But upon realizing where he was, that's when they began the extradition to Phoenix to be taken into custody on October 21st, 2024. So Javier was booked on one count of premeditated first-degree murder after being brought back to Phoenix. They didn't think justice was going to come for them or their family, and I'm so glad that they didn't give up, because Sarah deserves this justice, as do they. So as you saw, her son became a part of law enforcement in Texas, and there again, their family's message to others searching for justice in cold cases is to never lose hope. Stay in contact with the detectives investigating these cases. Sometimes you have to stay on top of these. You are your loved one's biggest advocate. So do not ever give up. Do not ever just think that the police and the detectives are just going to handle it. Like, stay on top of them. Advocate for your loved one. It's so important to be patient, because justice can take time. So there isn't a whole lot on this case. I just wanted to bring light to the amazing news that this family is going to get justice after all their prayers and continued efforts. And that is it for today. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Let's talk about it. Give me your opinions on things like this. If there's any cases that you want me to talk about, whether it's a cold case, unsolved case, solved case, let me know. I love hearing from you guys. I love the feedback. So just keep it coming, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.